Good morning, Monarchs. I'm Jaden.
And I'm Mason. Today is Friday, May 2nd, 2025, and you're watching Monarch Message.
Good morning,
Monarchs. Welcome to
Monarch
Message.
Promise tomorrow. If you haven't yet, buy tickets on Schoology. Just a reminder that you'll need to have your school ID for entry at prom. There's a link in Schoology to download it to your phone. Also, all non-Marysville guests will need to fill out a form that is also in Schoology. Important message from staff. Be safe at prom for those who drive. Drive safely. Here's an interview with Miss Adams.
Good morning. My name is Profe Adams. I'm one of the Spanish teachers here at Marysville High School, and I teach Spanish 2, Spanish 3, and AP Spanish. So we start usually at least about a year in advance. This year, for the first time, I traveled with the group EF Tours. So I got information from Ms. Hauser, one of the art teachers here, about who she works with to plan her EF trips. Reached out to them. We started looking at trip options. So I picked which trip I wanted to take, and then started advertising it to my students of where we would go, what kinds of things we would see. I have a parent meeting at the beginning as well to explain to all the parents what we'll do and the cost and all of that. So that's generally how it gets started at the beginning. I just think it's really important for teenagers and really anybody to get out and to see different places in the world and to build an understanding and empathy for other cultures and to see how other people live. And I think it's really important to have different perspectives and experiences in life. There, and we saw a lot of the main places, La Plaza Mayor, Plaza del Sol. We went and did a tour through the Palacio Real, which it's the royal palace, but it's not where the royal family lives today, but it still has a lot of historical meaning, and it's still used as a government building today, so that was really cool to see. We also were able to see some of the main parts of Madrid, the Gran Via, which is kind of like their Broadway, and the kids were really interested to see that some major American musicals were playing there, like Mamma Mia and The Lion King and different things, so that was really cool. Then we went south and we went to Cordoba. We were only there for a day, but one of the main attractions that we saw there is called La Mezquita de Cordoba. It was originally built as a Muslim mosque, and then eventually it was transitioned into a Catholic cathedral. And the King of Spain at the time when the cathedral was built was so impressed by the architecture of the mosque that he didn't want to have it torn down. So it's literally like a cathedral built in the center of a mosque. After that, we went to Sevilla, and we spent 2 days in Sevilla, and we visited a lot of different places, another cathedral. Our students had a decent amount of time while we were in Sevilla to do some shopping. They had to go out and buy lunch on their own in the afternoon. So I think Sevilla is probably the place where they had the most experience of being on their own and being able to use Spanish and have to figure some things out for themselves. And then on our last day, we drove back north. We stopped in Toledo for a tour. We saw another cathedral in Toledo. And then we came back to Madrid for the last night before we flew home. A couple students had talked to me before we left, and they said, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of nervous. I don't know if I actually want to go. I'm maybe thinking about canceling and getting my refund. And then they, ultimately they decided they were going to go with it. And so they went. And within the first day or two, they came up to me and they said, I'm so glad I came. I'm so glad I didn't cancel. By the end of the week, it came out that almost every single person had had a moment of doubt that they didn't think they wanted, they just got nervous about, how big it was going to be. And every single student on our trip said, I'm so glad I did this. This was such an amazing experience. I would do it again. And a couple kids are already asking if there's another trip planned for the future.
Leo Club will be having their end-of-year celebration on May 8th during advisory. If you're interested in an officer position, please plan to give a short speech during the meeting. All members are welcome to bring their favorite snack to share and should wear their Club t-shirts to take our yearbook photo. Now let's head to an interview with Miss Waller.
I'm Miss Waller and I work in the main office at MHS.
What was your process to get this job?
I just went online and I applied for the job. I came from the legal field. I needed something a little bit more flexible for my children.
If you had the option to do any other career field, what would you pursue?
Ooh, that's a good question because I've kind of bounced around a little bit. I really enjoy working with, younger students. Previously, when I went to school outside of high school, I went for cosmetology and I did that for a while till I started having children and I needed something a little bit more steady. So I went into the legal field and I was a paralegal for 12 years and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I actually left after year 4 here for 12 weeks to see if I wanted to go back and pursue the legal field, but ultimately I missed the relationships I built with students, so I came back. I really enjoy working with kids.
What's a memorable event from your job?
Ooh, a memorable event. I mean, all kinds of things. I mean, from the time that I started, I've had 3 different positions here in the building. So I have bounced around from attendance to reception to the position I'm in now. I've begun coaching. But, there's all kinds of memories just because I spend more time here at work with my coworkers, so every day is exciting and every day is just different. I think that's just my favorite thing about this job, so yeah.
What's the most difficult part of your job?
The difficult part, especially in my position now, is sometimes that authority part because I don't always like to be the bad guy, but sometimes I have to be. I like to just remind kids that just because, you make a bad decision now, that doesn't define you. That also, you learn, you grow, you're young. That's why you make these decisions now.
What's your advice to people who want to get a job at schools?
I would highly recommend it. I would tell them to be patient just because it is a learning curve because it is very busy. Obviously, the last few years, with everything going on outside of these walls, it's definitely taken effect on the inside. But I would just say be patient, keep applying, and do it, especially if you enjoy working with kids. If you don't enjoy working with kids, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you enjoy building relationships, this is definitely the place to be.
Now your weekly Monarch Sports Update. The boys lacrosse team went 2-0 this weekend in Bowling Green. Today, the boys junior varsity as well as varsity tennis teams faced off against Dublin Kaufman High School. Tomorrow, they also battle Upper Arlington. Girls junior and varsity softball teams also play tonight. They go head-to-head with London High School and Johnstown Monroe High School. Girls varsity also goes to Westerville Central. With a lot more things going on in the weekend with track, baseball, and lacrosse, good luck, Monarchs. Thank you for watching Monarch Message.